Good morning. Sometimes I come across a paragraph that, speaks to me, challenges me, helps me think, and helps me connect with what God is doing in my life, maybe what I'm experiencing here lately. And this paragraph comes from Abraham Joshua Heschel in his book, Mankind, Man is Not Alone. And he writes some heady words, but I wanted to share the point because he's talking about why we come together to seek God. And ultimately, we come together to seek because we're longing to be known, we're longing to be seen, and we're longing to take off our masks, as he writes here. Let me share this paragraph. Heschel writes this: God is unwilling to be alone, and man cannot forever remain impervious to what he longs to show. Those of us who cannot keep their striving back find themselves at times within the sight of the unseen and become aglow with its rays. Some of us blush, others wear a mask. Faith is a blush in the presence of God. I like that. Faith is a blush in the presence of God. Some of us blush, others wear a mask which veils spontaneous sensitivity to the holy, ineffable dimension of reality. Ineffable meaning unchanging, the unchanging dimension of reality. We all wear so much mental makeup, we have almost forfeited our face. But faith only comes when we stand face to face, the unchanging in us with the unchanging beyond us. Suffer ourselves to be seen, to commune, to receive a ray and to reflect it. But to do that, the soul must be alive within the mind. Responsiveness to God cannot be copied. It must be original with every soul. Even the meaning of the divine is not grasped when imposed by a doctrine, when accepted by hearsay. It only enters our vision when leaping like a spark from the anvil of the mind, hammered and beaten upon by trembling awe. Then the last section here. Those who search after him in abstractions will miss him. He is not a lost pearl at the bottom of the mind, to be found when diving in the waves of argument. The greatest is never that which you expect. Abraham Heschel laying it down. That man is not alone, and that God wills for us to be in union with the divine. Let's center down on that note, ponder that, turn that over in our minds. We'll take a moment and I'll open with a few words. God, is with thanksgiving that we perceive and respond to with joy your invitation to encounter you face to face. God, we're grateful that we have a place that we can come to where we're challenged and invited to take off masks, to take off hats, to take off identities that are no longer useful to us. We're invited to be our whole selves, not just part of ourselves. And we can be our whole selves because that is where you already are. You're just waiting for us to catch up. Lord, we thank you that the church is a group that seek to catch up to you together. So we don't find you alone, but we find you with people whom we love, to our left, to our right, and that we can respond to the great yes of faith and even blush before you. Oh Christ, we are grateful. Help us to see you through in our hearts and our minds, through the eyes of faith. We pray this, Christ, in your name. Amen.
Let all the earth sing praises to thee, O God of love. The valleys lift their graces to rolling hills above. The crystal streams and nurture to grass and flower and field. As all creation lives anew, thy goodness forth to yield. Let heaven and earth sing praises to thee, O God of light, as ancient truths return to lift new vision into sight. Bring forth thy springs of goodness, thy promises fulfill. In all who seek thy light of love and find thy holy will. Let all the people praise thee, the source of human hope, provider of our future days, eternity thy scope, preserver of all nature, thy love to us is past, to fold this earth and all its people into peace at last.
From Psalm 139, first 10 verses. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high that I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. And from Elizabeth Barrett Browning, earth is crammed with heaven, and every bush aflame with God. But only those who see take off their shoes.
I've had many people concerned this morning that I'm wearing a coat. Bert has a Gatorade ready for me if I go down. It may come as a surprise to some of you to know, and it may even be a little disturbing for others to know, that I pay someone, I really do, I pay someone $12 a month to follow me around. I'm not joking. I want to be tracked. I want to be monitored. I'm being transparent here. And I've come up with a way to ensure that anywhere I go on earth will be monitored. In fact, high-tech satellite technology watches and analyzes my every move and my location within a 3-foot variance. This is thanks to my Garmin GPS that I take with me while hiking. I don't keep this on me all the time. It allows me to text my location, so whenever I'm going somewhere, there's a link to this that's connected to a satellite that on my phone's over there, I can text Megan and Brenna and Lachlan and say, this is the link to let you know where I'm at, so that if I'm gone a few hours, wonder where Mark is. They can open that link and there's a little arrow or blue dot or whatever it is from this thing. Ah, there he is. Ah, thank God, it's still moving. It hasn't been in the same place for more than 45 minutes or so. So I text my family this link. I text also a third party of where I'm going. This is my Garmin link. $12 a month. And it's handy in that way. It also has an SOS button. So in case if I'm really in trouble, I can say, "Get me out of here." And of course that brings some peace of mind. So I carry it with me for safety and in case if I get lost or unexpected problems. Thank God so far that has not happened, because when you're out in the wilderness, you're out in the Columbia River Gorge, your phone doesn't work. You're working on whatever you have downloaded onto the phone, but it's not getting new information from 5G or 4G, anything like that. You have to have something that's connected to a satellite. So I have that thing, and it's a privilege, and it's nice to have. Whenever I read Psalm 139, I start thinking of this thing, of the inescapable nature of the presence, of the divine presence. The writer of the psalm that we just heard read aloud by Bob, thank you, Bob, for that, seems to be in a reflective mood, doesn't he or she? They're kind of reflecting on the nature of God, on the nature of the presence, contemplating the inescapable circumstances of life even. And while they're describing how life unfolds with every imaginable event that a human being can go through, they sense that there is something beyond just the experiences that is present and that is playing out in their lives. Yes, I'm experiencing these things, but there's something else beneath the surface, and I'm intuiting that. This isn't a rational argument for God. This isn't logical in a sense. This is intuitive. And the writer of Psalm 139 is pointing to that. They're putting their finger on that intuition. The writer of the psalm is a poet. The poet also acknowledges how kindness and mercy remain in their life, recognizing a presence and a grace that seems to accompany them no matter where they go. They go to the ends of the earth. They go to wherever they may be. And they're saying there's this, I can't get away from this intuitive notion that there's something else holding me, accompanying me, present with me. Even if that presence, they go as far as they're saying, even if that presence is perhaps unwelcome or is hidden from me, I can't quite place exactly where it's at, it would still persist because there is something about the presence that is as much a part of the poet. The poet can't get away from the presence because that presence is a part of them. It's as part of the poet as much as the words that they're pouring out on their papyrus. When Psalm 139 was originally written, probably on papyrus. It was scribed down, written down. They are recording their life experience in relation to God. That's what they're recording. They're trying to put that into words, that hard in-between experience of the human being and the relationship they have with the divine and the Creator. They're trying to put that into words. It's like trying to want to run away, but you can't run away. It's like trying to go to a place in the world that you would never find yourself experiencing, and yet it's still there. Here the poet is in a state where there is the inescapable presence, and they name it, of God. They name it God. Adonai. And yet there's a purpose to it. It isn't enough for the psalm to say that God always knows where I'm at. Well, that's nice, but that's kind of equating God to a Garmin God. Okay, well, that's nice to know that something knows where you're at. Well, what does it do? What's the outcome of that? The point of it all is that we are also known by the presence. Did you catch that at the beginning of the psalm? That the person is saying, I'm known by this. It's not an impersonal force. It's not an impersonal light. It's this interpersonal known presence, knowing presence, which I believe is one of the greatest desires human beings have. We all want to be known. We have this primal kind of desire that resides, right there in the central part of us. It even sits below the heart. It's right here. We have the primal desire to be with those who know us. We call them our friends. What we're really saying, these are the people that know me. And to be known, that desire to be known. And that's a good desire. That's a desire that some of us, we abandon because it's been mishandled. And we say, I don't want to be known anymore. I'm not going to trust anyone to know me. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know if I want to know me. I don't want to know me. And that's a state that not just a few of us, I think all of us wrestle with. We negotiate that. And one of the gifts of the gospel, what's so powerful about the gospel? Christ come to dwell among his people. The gift of the gospel presents to be people, is to be with people, is to be known deeply by one's Creator. That's the outcome of the gospel. To know that you are known. In all of our mess and in all of our glory, we are deeply known by our Creator. And to dwell in that, to work with that, and to know that. That's the gospel. That's the point and the work and the meaning of the gospel. We call it, we have religious jargon to talk about it. We call it salvation, we call it forgiveness, we call it mercy, we call it union. But we're talking about being known by the Creator. Knowing that and celebrating that and enjoying that. This knowing and being known follows us throughout life, according to Psalm 139. And it's something that we draw from in our interactions with other people. This isn't something that's kind of capsulated to ourselves, kept to ourselves. If you're known, if you're deeply known, you can't help but kind of leak that out, and it spreads around. Because being known frees us to give ourselves away to others. You ever get around a person that just can connect with other people, and other people like to be around that person? There's something infectious about them. How did they get that way? What is it that they have? I think what they have is what the psalmist is talking about. Of being known, a deep sense of being known. We can give ourselves away to others because there's nothing to hide from people if we're already known by the only one that truly matters. That was kind of the draw of Mary as she sat at the feet of Jesus under his teaching. That's what she was seeking. She was seeking to be known by the Master. The experience of being fully known and intimately understood by Christ is not a fleeting moment, but a continuous journey that accompanies us through every stage and season of life. This deep, unwavering knowledge of who we are, extending beyond the superficial appearances that we all carry and the societal roles that we all have and mark on the sheets whenever we're supposed to fill out sheets for this or that reason. This becomes an invaluable wellspring from which we draw strength, from which we draw empathy, from which we draw our authenticity and compassion in our interaction with others, proceeds from this deeply held sense of being known. I allow myself to be known, and then I let other people know me. When we are not preoccupied with protecting a carefully constructed image of ourselves, which we're all tempted to do. In this very moment, we are all kind of careful with constructing how we want to present. When we lay that down, that preoccupation, that over-preoccupation of protecting the constructed image of ourselves, we can genuinely connect with others, offering our true selves, our compassion, our wisdom, and our authentic presence without reservation. Therefore, this profound sense of being known is not merely a comforting thought. It's sentimental, and that's about it. No, it goes beyond sentimental notions. It is a transformative state of being that takes place through communion with Christ's Spirit, that enables us to live more fully, to love more deeply, and to engage with the world from a place of simplicity, authenticity, and selfless generosity. I like that. That's where my heart naturally has a bend towards. I want that. I wonder if it is from this intuition of being known that Oregon's favorite poet, we all agreed on this, William Stafford, is Oregon's favorite poet. William Stafford wrote his poem, "The Way It Is." I love that poem. We'll have a reading of it here in a moment with the video, with William Stafford reading "The Way It Is." In this poem, Stafford talks about how no matter what happens in life, to us in life, there's a thread, an invisible thread that we can discern, follow, and even lay hold of. This thread throughout our life, like a plumb line. I can't help but draw parallels between the thread Stafford writes about and the divine presence the psalmist celebrates. It's almost as if they're talking about the same thing, but just in different ways. But it's the same thing. What they're saying is really existential in nature. Each poem bears witness to the ground upon which all things rely and rest upon. That this ground is here, too, they're saying. What's in the poem is a statement about reality here and now. The ground is here. We're standing upon it, we're sitting on it, we're existing upon it. That it is interpersonal, this ground. It is relational, it is gracious, and it is able to be trusted. That it has appeared in absolute humility, this ground. It has appeared in absolute humility. It is most visible when raised up for love's sake, this ground, this thread, this presence. So I conclude with sharing a short video of a conversation that Stafford is having about this poem, The Way It Is. I want us to listen to that. And also about how this poem has its origins with, it didn't appear out of a vacuum for Stafford. It actually shows up in a William Blake poem, this idea of a thread, where Blake talks about tells us that life is like being given a golden string, and we are to wind that string up into a ball throughout our life, to follow it and then to treasure where that string and where that leads us. Ryan, could we do the lights so that we see that? And then finally, Stafford will read his poem, The Way It Is. Let's check it out.
One of the greatest gifts he's given to poetry in the writing of poetry is his theme of the golden thread. I don't know if you know that theme. Do you know that theme? That if you're going along and a little detail happens, and then Bill said you bring that in. Now if you're able to follow that, what is the line of Blake?
It says, I give you the end of a golden string. Just wind it into a ball. It will lead you in at heaven's gate built in Jerusalem's wall. That's what Blake says.
And so the idea is that if you have any detail in the morning, and he said a man jogging by his house is fine, and then he follows that, and I said to him, Bill, that every one of them will lead you into Jerusalem's wall? You mean certain special ones, don't you? He said, no, Robert, every detail.
As a writer in practice, my faith is that any old thread will do. Any thread is golden if you don't pull it too hard. And I don't pull those threads very hard. I follow them. Masterful people, watch out, Robert, break that thread.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean you do, but I mean lots
I
of
hear
people who don't write, they think that's the way to do it. Oh, grab it. No, just follow it, roll it.
Suppose that you work for half an hour or so, and you come to something that's a little at the outskirts of Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
Do you stop there?
Any suburb will do. What you were saying, I think, is you might get discouraged because you don't get there today. Well, I don't get there today. But I think I have to be ready to accept wherever I do get. It's Jerusalem to me today.
Yeah.
The way it is, there's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you're pursuing. You have to explain about the thread. But it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread.
You have something in your...
Some of that dialogue was a little hard to follow. But I think it sets up and harmonizes nicely with what we were talking about today. God's presence wherever we go, in everything that we experience. And the last line in Stafford's poem, you don't ever let go of the thread. I like that. You don't ever let go of the thread. A few queries for our time of open worship. Where in your life do you discern and sense the thread that Stafford's poem is talking about? Does being known bring you a sense of comfort or discomfort? Why? And finally, how does Psalm 139 speak to your condition this morning? Friends, when we go into open worship, that is a time for us to assess, check ourselves, discern not so much with the mind, but that intuitive feeling of the heart. Where are we? That's also a time to attend to that other voice, that presence the psalmist is talking about, the thread the poet is writing about. There is an inward teacher that we can learn from when we take time to listen. Let's take a little bit of time and listen. If you're prompted by Spirit to share, we'll have a microphone so we can hear you. Friends online, if you're prompted by Spirit to share, make sure you're unmuted. Otherwise, let's consider the presence. Let's consider where the thread is in our life today. Let's center down.